Of practical interactable, which is the closest word I could find to rhyme with interactable. Starring Jared and Lewis. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Star Citizen Live. It is Friday, July 8th, 2022. We are hanging out as we are wont to do. This week is one of our game dev shows where instead of the normal hustle and bustle, Q&A and stuff like that, we are going to hang out with our dev du jour, the wonderful Lewis, right here. Say hi, Lewis.
Hello, everyone.
And Lewis, formerly of the props team, is now on the newly formed and minted Interactables team. So, Lewis, why don't we start with that? This is a brand new team that didn't exist before this week. You remember, the only constant in game development is change. So, what is the Interactables team?
That's a very good question, and I think it's something that's going to be hashed out over the coming months a bit more. But at the moment, as it stands, it's basically a props team 2.0. But the goal of this team is to kind of push the props a little bit further. So whereas we've just kind of done the art before, the Interactables team is about interactables. So obviously more complex props with more functionality, being able to take on a bit more of the technical setup and stuff like that, and kind of be our own entity, really. So usually we're kind of just supporting, environment team, AI team, mission feature team, different teams we provide support. But this is going to be more of a kind of a team where we can kind of start shaping our own game features and stuff ourselves, which is really, really exciting. So yeah, it's like a props team, but a more in-depth technical version.
Yeah. And props artists and stuff still exist. They've been embedded in other teams and stuff like that. So props are an absolutely essential part of making a space seem lived in and diegetic. It's one of the reasons I've taken as many times as I have to emphasize and highlight the props team, because I'm a big fan of their contribution. The interactives team, as you just said, is this new kind of thing about finding a way to build props and stuff that we can put into players' hands and serve a function, and not just decorate a scene. And to that end, what are we doing today, Lewis? I mean, I know, but tell the people.
Yeah, so basically, going in. So our team's brand new, and we're kind of just starting to find our feet and get the ball rolling on the stuff we have to work on. But previous to this, before we got started, as we're kind of ramping down our work with the previous props team, we took a bit of time to start, looking at what kind of cool new features we could develop, what we're able to do with the skills we currently have, and then maybe what we're able to progress into later on. So to that end, we kind of sat down and thought, okay, what can we do with props? So we thought it'd be awesome to create like a cool set of props that players would be able to, maybe pick up, take with them to places, and place wherever they'd like, within reason. So we sat around and we thought, oh, well, it'd be really cool, maybe making some form of camping set, something like that, where players can load up their ship with some equipment, take them to anywhere in the verse, land, and place them and have little camps and stuff.
Make little tableaus, make little campsites of their own and stuff.
Yeah, we went wild with the thought process. We were just you imagine, when all the tech comes online and we have lots of players on a server, they'll all come and set up tents and stuff. We can have our own version of Glastonbury or something in Star Citizen.
Yeah. And it's not the only initiative that the new interactives team is tackling. This is just the one that we've chosen to highlight and explore today. Not everything that we make in Star Citizen Get Live game dev, goes into the game, but whenever possible, we do try to piggyback on work that you're already doing so that we can see the process of making stuff that will has a better chance of someday making it into the game. And since the team is already scoping out camping gear, we thought let's make some camping gear today. So with that, I am going to turn it over to you and push this button here. So we're on the screen share now, and what I see immediately looks like a metric for a chair.
Oh, yes.
Am I right?
Yeah. These are our glorious chair metrics. So, as always, we kind of have a starting point where we've got, this is how a chair needs to be in starters, and this is the height and, the width of how it will operate essentially. And yeah, this is an armchair template. So when the player sits in it, they'll have arm support and stuff. And yeah, this is going to be our starting point. So what we're going to be doing is trying to convert this into a deployable camping chair. So yeah, I'm just going to get started.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll see where we go. So I'll get rid of these first.
Now, as usual, as Lewis works, we encourage you to submit questions in the chat. Preface with the word question in capital letters. Remember that Lewis is an artist on the props/interactables team. So if your question is about the current status of Alpha 3.17.2 or where the Banu Merchantman or anything else like that, Jake Acapella is in the chat, and you can just direct those to him. In fact, I encourage you to.
Yeah, I don't know anything.
Just send every non-prop and interactable related question you have to Jake Acapella in the Twitch chat right now. And if you're watching on the YouTube replay, you can find him on Twitter and do the same. So you don't have to miss out just because you're watching a replay.
So yeah, essentially what I'm doing to begin with is, because everything in the template's all together, we're going to start out by separating some of the parts, just so that we can kind of work with them a bit better. Because I am not an animator. I can't rig or skin meshes, and apparently I can't do this either. But yeah, essentially, we want to be able to move these bits individually. So we're going to separate the arms, the seat, and the backrest.
Mm-hmm. Here's a camping related question. If you were a hot dog and you were starving, would you eat yourself? I know I would. I put on some ketchup and some mustard and some relish. That'd be delicious.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. I don't think it'd be a very tasty hot dog, to be honest.
There's about 27 people in chat who got that reference. And you're my people.
What's going on with my pivot? There you go, sorted. No. Oh. Already having technical issues.
The pressure's on, man.
Fuss is the way of the artist. Things never go right when you want them to.
It's only like 1,000 people watching right now, and then a couple 10,000 more on YouTube. So
it's all right. I just turned my YouTube comments off for 2 weeks.
Right. So you're taking the basic pieces of the metric-laden chair and reducing them to what could be like flat pack deployable parts without changing the overall metrics, so you know that it's going to fit the player character.
Yeah, so for example, the main important things on this are the contact points. So the seat, I've reduced the bottom because we don't want to sit on a massive block. That won't be very good to fold away. The backrest is still at the same angle but a bit thinner, and the arms are now thinner as well. But they still have the same contact points. So when the player sits down, their arms will still line up with these surfaces. I'm just trying to work out why my pivot is not letting me move. That's so weird. All right, we'll work around it.
My guess would be user error.
Yeah, most likely. business as usual. So I'm going to use these points instead, which is probably a better idea.
Sirenean in the chat says, "Can this be called a camping chair if it does not have cup holders?"
Oh, stretch goal cup holders.
Now, interesting. Like what we're going to be doing today is essentially what you would, if you were to find parity with like the ship pipeline you might already be familiar with. We're going to be working in a white box for most of today, where we test functionality and develop functionality and stuff. So cup holders is definitely a gray box slash a final art kind of task.
Oh yeah.
But I will say, if the camping chair does eventually make it into the game and it doesn't have cup holders, you can go and message Jake Acapella on Twitter and share your displeasure.
That'll be a cool thing to bear in mind if I go and take this further. Because this actually started out as just a personal development task, but it got to the point where everyone thought it was actually pretty cool. And they were like, "Oh, let's give this a try and show it off." Ah, interesting.
Where's my mouse? Where's my mouse? There it is.
So usually it'd be super precise, but I'm just going to be messy modeling today, so don't worry, this won't be the final.
Yeah, for the Interactables team and what we're attempting to showcase for your workflow, it's more about how the item can deploy, can collapse, and can be ultimately used by the player, as opposed to any fine art. Folks who have watched game dev shows in the past, we've been doing these for a few years now, know that there's just about nothing in Star Citizen with the level of fidelity that we go for that can be created in under an hour. So this will be a representation of work, except for the collected works of Jeremiah Lee. His stuff is usually done in like 40 minutes with some time left over to wonder why nobody likes it.
There's some absolute machines out there that can do art, like absolute machines. What did I get to? Like 6. Oh.
Why not start with the foldable chairs we see already present in the cuddy?
So that'd be a good starting point. We've had so part of this was I did go back and review some of the artwork that was already made to be fit for purpose. But the problem is a lot of them aren't built with the animation in mind. So for example, we have like a bunch of camping beds already in the game, but they're not built in a way which means they can easily be deployed. So part of what we want to do is, create some art from scratch that will actually work from the get-go.
So you're saying that in situations like this, it would be more time and cost effective to adapt the art to the animation than to try to take something that was already created and completely redo the animation?
Exactly, yeah. Because like sometimes when you're doing modeling, you take, you can take shortcuts sometimes. So for example, if you have like a folding mechanism, sometimes you'll just model it as it is folded out and then optimize the geometry behind where it folds, so that if you actually tried to fold it like via the animation, it would not work. Just because. Sorry, I'm really bad at multitasking.
No, okay.
Just because where you've tried to optimize it, maybe the mesh like isn't clean on the other side, or it just looks, a bit jank, or some faces have been deleted to save on, polygons for optimization. So going forward, so what we usually do is we will set up a template, and then that template has, the functionality that is required, and then the artist will go on to make the actual final art.
And again, that's what we're doing here. We are making a template for a deployable chair. Like who is it? Somebody in chat was like, I can do better art than this. It's like, well, the art's not the point of this particular demonstration. The mechanic is the point. Oh, what is that? I just got an email from no, it's from Jeremiah. Oh, he's not happy. Wonder what I said.
Nothing at all. Right, so we've got some like legs in place now, that are very, very happily named. Don't show my boss, anyone. And then so what we're gonna do, we can expand all these again. Basically, what we're doing here is we're just creating a hierarchy. So what happens is if we move, this, the rest of it moves with it. If we move this, the rest of it above moves. And this means when we come to animate it, it's going to be a hell of a lot easier than having to animate in each individual part. So for now, I'm just going to grab all this stuff and I'm going to keyframe it really messily. And I've got auto key down here set. So basically when I move any of this, it's going to remember. So like if I move this piece, for example, you'll see that it's placed like a little marker here. Mm-hmm. And this means it's remembering where I'm moving these. And you see the entire chair is moving down with this, apart from the backrest, but we'll sort that out in a second.
Is there a scene available where this can be placed? Well, the idea behind this of Frelsey, I'm not the pronunciator, is that this is the kind of chair that can be deployed anywhere out in the open world. That's the whole idea. So it's not one particular or specific scene. That you'd be able to go out to Microtech or out into the marshes of Lorville or wherever. And chair, bed, table, be able to set yourself up a little scene.
It would be absolutely amazing to see, like, because players already organize stuff, right? So, like, for example, the Daymar Rally. Can you imagine if players could bring their own like camping chairs and set up and watch alongside the track and stuff? Mm-hmm. Or, later on, we're looking at potentially getting a programmer on our team and being able to create features and stuff like that. So, imagine, cooking mechanics maybe, or something like that, a deployable stove where you can cook things for your mates, tents. One of the ideas we really, really liked the sound of was football goals. So bringing a ball and a football goal that deploys along with you. We thought that would be a really cool idea. But again, this here was a task just to kind of learn some of the more technical stuff in regards to the setup. Mm-hmm. Because I know a lot of the art stuff, but in terms of like setting it up in DataForge and basically making it actually work, I don't know it that well.
For lack of a better word, interactable.
Stuff like when I did the med bed, that was already pre-set up by a different team. So all I had to do was place, the points, animate it, and then that was done. So, essentially, this was a task to learn the setup behind creating deployables, really.
Bionic says, "Does he mean soccer? No, he means football. we're, 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 we're here and loyal subjects of Her Majesty the Queen now. So, it's football now."
You rapscallions, you can't be bringing that kind of chat into here.
Jag Hiroshi says, "What is DataForge, please?" Oh, that's a big ask. DataForge. Oh, very cool.
It's pain. It's pain. It's drop down pain.
DataForge is pain. This is DataForge here. DataForge is basically the place where we keep all of the connections between every individual item that makes up the universe, and set up the rules and the guidelines in how that interacts with one another. The crazy, insane database at the heart of the persistent universe. You can find, I'm sure some folks who have been around for a while might be able to remember links to old ATVs where DataForge was being developed originally, and we did some segments on it way back when. If you're really curious to learn more, but it's a totally internally developed way to store and retrieve the data that is necessary to make the persistent universe work. And and one of the biggest things it did was it got us away from CryEngine's XML system for a lot of stuff. Not everything, for being completely honest, but for most things.
I don't even really know what else you can compare it to, really. It's really, really cool. It's so, essentially what I did when setting up like the first deployable that I ever did, it was essentially mashing two DataForge records together and learning how they both worked. And it's a really cool modular system that lets you do stuff like that. It's really awesome.
Yeah. There are other things like it from other developers. That the issue is that other developers don't share them. Like they don't talk about them. They don't expose them to things. So the references wouldn't make any sense. But it's our version of a common necessity for MMOs.
Okay, cool. So what I'm doing here is I'm looking at how the parts interact with each other and trying to set them up on the left so that it makes sense. And for example, the arms move because they're attached to the backrest. They need to move with the backrest, right? So that's what that's being set up as.
Yeah.
So that's when that starts to move down. So
G. Kenny says, Dev, whose name I didn't catch. That's Lewis. Can you please make something like this for the 100 series beds? They could use a chair table. Now, let's see. That's ship team and stuff. So you can G. Kenny, you can take your request and if go to Twitter and send it to Jake Acapella. Here I'm typing his name into chat now. So you'll have
lol.
Just send the request to Jake Acapella and he'll make sure it gets
Fix the ship. What's up, Butch?
He's going to be very upset with you.
Oh no. This wrong. Recovering password don't work. I couldn't get in your server. Are you talking about the Discord server?
A futuristic fisherman.
You shouldn't have a problem in the account section. The account section of Star Citizen's bulletproof.
Using now. Yeah, it could be.
Did you enter the wrong email? Maybe create a new account.
Don't see why not.
We're gonna have we'll have Todd Pappy on Star Citizen Live next week for an all about Alpha 3.17, 3.17.1, and 3.17.2. Just all about. We haven't done an all about the patch Q&A with Todd Pappy in a while, so he's on next week talking about the last 3 patches. So maybe we'll see if we can sneak in a fishing question. He loves to talk about fishing. if you want Todd Pappy to answer questions about fishing, head on over to Twitter now and send a message to Jake Acapella. Again, the name in the chat right now, and let us know. It's possible I had too much sugar today.
No such thing. Oh no, I need to keep trading that first. Ooh.
Oh, rotating the arms.
Yeah, this is what I mean. Like, you know, on the template, it's gonna look, you know,
Janky.
whack because because there's no mechanism for it, right? So, you know, the functionality is implied, but eventually it will be down to the artist, and this means that like we might see multiple versions of the chair. So you can have like a, you know, a high-tech chair. You know, maybe it's like very smooth, like panels move out of the way and parts move out of it and stuff. Or you can have like, you know, a low-tech one, which is literally just, you know, your default camping chair that you'd find nowadays.
Yeah.
But again, like it's just giving the intention so that the artist can then come in later and do what they want with it, pretty much.
No, I think that's worth showing. I think a lot of folks, especially outside the Star Citizen community, who, you know, don't have the same level of development content that we do here, tend to think that anything they see in a game was just built straight to that finished product, and it's not. Everything has a pipeline, and you know we explore the ship pipeline a bit more than most, but everything has a pipeline very similar to that. With Whitebox, where you build these templates out and you make sure all the pieces work and they have space to go into each other and fit each other and not conflict. And then Graybox, where you start to really model it out and stuff like this, and then you can address any final problems that get discovered in Graybox, and then go into final art where somebody comes in and does the meticulous LOD 0 version of an asset. And then the tech artists come in and do the LOD versions and the LOD 4 and the 3 and the 2 and the 1 versions and stuff like this. It's definitely a prolonged, protracted process, and we are showing the earliest parts of the process of creating an interactable right now, which is building the template. If we have some time, I think we'll manage to fit it in. We can show you a version of something similar that's a little farther along. Before we go.
Definitely, yeah. Let's so what we got? So we've got a closed up state up to a raised state. So now all we need to do is kind of just grab this. We can shift drag it.
Yeah.
Shift drag it.
Oser77 asked a great question. Will artists who build different versions of the foldable chair be limited to the same style, like legs collapsing straight, or can they build a scissors like folding chair with the same interactable template?
Yeah, so really all this is just some kind of demonstration geometry, really. The main thing is the actual record. So, I was talking about Dataforge earlier. This is the record for that. And they can essentially do any kind of animation they want as long as they stick to those metrics. So, the chair metrics, so that the player always sits in the same position, they're able to rest. And as long as it folds up so that they can carry it in the same way, there's no reason, they can't change the animation up. Even if it's a different size when it's folded down, they've got the ability to go into this record and actually change down here, I think. They've got stuff like the grip data, so they can change, what orientations it can be picked up from, the kind of shape of the grip. So they can change it. So, maybe it's a flat grip, maybe it's a rounded grip, the dimension of the hands. So they can, there's all sorts of features. You could spend all day in this just looking it up, but there's a lot of customization to be done through this. And this is essentially just going to be the base version. And then people can, you can see down here. There's all
Right.
sorts of like different.
Seat chair 890, seat chair Constantine Hurston, all the different. Yeah.
Exactly. So they're all based. Every chair in the game is sort of based from the same original chair, right? It's always going to be the same sort of height, and that just means that people can be more flexible in their approach when making stuff. All the tech travels further, and yeah, it's cool beans. Right. This is where it could collapse in. No, we should be right. I do need to quickly check. Where did I put my...
Yes, is this a product for armchair devs? Yes.
Some proper comedians out there today.
Koala 999 says, "How does one stay motivated doing this? Sounds very tedious."
To be honest, since the new team update, it's been pretty nice because essentially, like we were just making the art before, and now we have a real awesome chance to kind of take our own work further and develop our own stuff. So, for example, this is all. I haven't been tasked with this specific thing. This is just stuff I've been working on between tasks. So there'll sometimes be like a day or two where you're waiting for your next task,
right,
or you're waiting for it all to kick off. So you're just kind of doing prep work to see how you can prepare yourself for it. And this was one of those tasks for us. We had a spare day.
Yeah. Those things come up quite a bit, because something you're supposed to be working on gets blocked by a dependency from somebody on another team, and you need them to finish their thing before you can continue on the thing that you're supposed to be working on. So you find other tasks to make sure that you're always being as productive as possible. We actually, I think we have an episode of ISC dedicated to that phenomenon coming up later this next quarter. I was just talking to some people about that, about the sort of middle tasks, the things that aren't necessarily laid out, but tend to crop up during development when you have to wait on something from somebody else or whatnot. Another way that folks are always battling tedium and stuff like this, if you've been following the project for any prolonged period of time, you've heard a lot about this team was supposed to work on this, but they're moved over to this. This artist was on this team, and they're now on this team or that team and stuff like that. Part of that, the only constant in game development is change mentality, is keeping things fresh and interesting and motivating for the people who are working on the project. It's like that. So there's of the many reasons decisions are made throughout game development. One of the considerations is always about trying to place the right person to the right task, and the right person to the right task. This person might have been the right person for that task 3 months ago, but they may not be the right person for that task today. It might be somebody else because of the last thing they worked on, or just where they are in their career development at that time and stuff. So it's an amazing calculus that is worked out by our producers and our directors. And you can go back to, there was an SCO we did, I want to say 2017, 2018, where we worked with producers and built a schedule out. It was super popular. Like literally, we spent an hour building out a schedule, and I got a lot of crap for it. but it's another essential part of game development to show the various considerations that go into why these people are on this thing and not this thing and stuff like that. It's an amazing calculus that I wish more game developers talked about.
Oh,
What'd you do?
The Pico Circle of Doom has crashed my editor.
I had the camera changed. I came back, and you're on a crash handler.
No. How do you stay motivated?
Why are there so many Picos in the scene? Literally, I clicked away, I come back, and you've got a crash with like 7 Picos.
Oh
on the
wait,
screen.
you missed the teapot. Oh.
I avoided the teapot. No teapots. I'm tired of teapots. That
They couldn't deal with football.
that's
They wouldn't be able
stupid.
to deal with tea.
The stupid 3DS Max teapot has been following me around like a plague for the last 20 years.
Cursed. Absolutely cursed.
We used to do a thing. He's reloading, by the way. That's why we're vamping right now. We used to do a thing when you accidentally call a group chat on like Teams or Slack or whatever, and you accidentally ring 30 people that you didn't mean to ring. We, for anybody that picked up, we used to make the person who made the call sing the Teacup song.
Oh no.
Dark days. Dark days.
Dark days indeed.
All right. So you're back up and running?
Nah,
Nope.
yeah, I
Still
don't know.
going.
It's still loading.
Still loading.
My computer's like clocked out. I think my computer needs a way to be motivated more because she's old now. She's not that old.
What's Hurston and ArcCorp's mascot? I feel like ArcCorp is some kind of anthropomorphic smokestack. Although that could also
I
be
was gonna
Hurston
say-
for that matter.
Pollution. Pollution's pretty good.
Yeah, Hurston's mascot is just a cloud of dirty pollution with little stick
with a
figure
smiley
arms.
face.
It's like a
Yeah.
really high res, a very well done up cloud of pollution with crappy stick arms, and like googly eyes on it. The dirty bubble, as Nomiso says.
And a top hat.
Whatever they are based on a photo of Jared only when Jeremiah is drawing. We don't do that anymore. We've broken up with Jeremiah. We have Frederick from the Turbulent team now. He's much nicer and doesn't base his work on unfortunate photos of me. Sorry.
Oh, my editor's taking its sweet time.
Da-da-da-da.
I can show our initial exploration of the goalpost if you like.
Sure. What up?
It's a small screen, so hang on. If I can work out where I put it.
And doesn't break things. Gabriel Wolf. Correct. It's the pollution thing from Ferngully. There we go. I'm sure Ferngully is not using it anymore. We can just take it right from there. All right, hold on. All right, so this set this up before you play it.
Okay, so yeah, and initially when we had our initial brainstorm of what kind of deployable stuff we could do, we basically split off into groups. So I did like a few camping equipment explorations, and then another dude on the team, Dan, he went away and did this football goal. So the idea is essentially, you rock up to a planet with this thing, drop it on the ground, deploy it, boom, and then we'll get
Play it again.
a ball working, and then if you can set 2 of these up on a random field somewhere on a planet, and then you can have a football match or a soccer match for those who don't agree with my terminology.
No. But you could use like render to texture to change the numbers in the corner and like count the score. 1, 2, 3. Every time something passes through.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's only initial idea, but we can have the colors changing. We can have different icons.
Yep.
Different colors for when you score. Maybe if we can get VFX support, we can even have fireworks going off or something when you score a goal. The possibilities are endless.
You have to set it to like a specific ball that goes through. Otherwise, people like Jake Acapella are just gonna like try to jump through it and have their body count count for things. If you want Jake Acapella to stop cheating at imaginary Star Citizen football, go to Twitter at Jake Acapella and tell him to stop.
Why am my editor taking so long?
I don't know. I'm running out of. I mean, I can only do this Jake Acapella joke so many times while I'm trying to cover. While I'm
Keep
trying to
going.
cover for your
We can do
editor.
it. This is sad times. Right, let's see what else we can do in here for the time being. I'll keep an eye on that. So yeah, essentially, this is the mesh setup, like pretty much there. What is this? Oh, actually, you know what I'm gonna position this in the correct spot. So this is gonna be hopefully where we can activate and deactivate this little point here, where we can activate and deactivate the chair. So on a final art mesh, you might have it where maybe there's like a touch screen that you can interact with, or just a button. Again, that's kind of, this is our early exploration, right? So later on, you know, if we did decide to go forward with this, we might get design involved, and they basically, you know, give us an idea of what else we could do with it, whether it should be a screen or a button or whatever makes sense really for what it is. And it's not just limited to, you know, chairs or whatever. It's limited, you know, by whatever you can animate really. So you can have deployable, like any kind of deployable item. So we showed the goalpost, for example. Oh, hallelujah. Thank you.
Oh, hold on. We're not there yet. You know, like a little summoning ritual here.
Don't
See? Oh, what did I say?
Ah, so close, mate.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. We're back. Right. Any percent speed run. Camp chair, let's go. Right, cool. So we're going to test the geometry, make sure that we've done the animation correctly. So deploy. That looks right to me. It's not perfect, but again, we're not trying to get perfect at this point. We're just trying to get something that functions. So I'm happy with that. So yeah, that what we're going to do now. So I've set up the DataForge entity prior to this because there is no way you lot would want to sit and watch me go through this for an hour and try and work out what I've done wrong. There's a lot of troubleshooting in this stage, so I'll quickly just give you an overview, like a brief overview. Basically, these props need to have what's called a state machine setup, and this is basically some code that tells the prop what state it's currently in. So I'll quickly jump in and see if this has worked correctly. They bring up the debug. So don't maximize yourself, please. Thank you. Right, so here it says, so currently it's settled, which means it's just placed on the ground. There's nothing going on with it. But what we need to be able to do is go up to it and interact with it. And obviously, because it's a chair, we don't want to be able to sit on the chair while it's in this state, because that would not be a comfortable chair.
Not without a few drinks first.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, basically the state machine tells the prop what interactions we can have with it in its current state. So settled, you can't do anything with it apart from pick it up or activate it. So you can see here, I wonder if this will work. No. So this is one of the problems I had before the stream. I couldn't get this quite working on this one. But yeah, essentially you'd be able to use this to pick it up and carry it about. It's not working for this demo. I can show you on an asset later that it does work on. But for now, there should be an interaction somewhere. But alas, it looks like it is not there. So we'll go back and quickly check. So we have got
You see all on the left there. You see all the little parts that make up this incredibly simple, just template version of the chair. Wait till it actually gets built out.
Yeah. So I mean, this is just primitives at this point, but on an actual mesh, you'd have all sorts of moving parts, and that's when it gets extremely complicated. And when you have stuff like the suggestion earlier about the scissor, like the scissor chair version,
Yeah.
You'd probably want an animator to basically rig that so they all move correctly and anchor to each other. My animation knowledge is pretty basic, so we do what we can. Here we go. So we've got an activate. So now you see the current state deployed. So you'll notice when I move over it, it says deactivate now. Because you wouldn't be able to run the activation animation if it's already out. And then we've got seating functionality. Unfortunately, this is another bug that I've not been able to solve in the
chair?
short time before. But I mean, just become the chair. When in doubt, just become the chair.
Like so many of us over the pandemic. All right, we got about 15 minutes left. Why don't you show them the other thing that's a little further along?
Sounds good to me.
So that's the start of something. Chair, building a template, some rudimentary animation tests, stuff like this. This next thing is a bit further along. If we were talking we've been comparing it to the ship pipeline, if that was like the absolute early white box, since you literally saw it 40 minutes ago, it was nothing. This would be a little closer to early gray box, assuming it loads and doesn't crash.
Have faith. We can do this.
If it crashes, we will blame. Well, you know who will blame.
It'll work. Don't worry. And if it doesn't, then then don't worry about it.
But we've switched to screen share because all you're missing on the screen share is a spinning donut. I figured we've all seen a spinning donut. So
it doesn't like loading into levels. It basically crashes the editor. But if you let that intimidate you into closing it in Task Manager, then it never loads. Yep. So you have to be patient with it.
It's one of the things, like, you think about the game, like the release game. That's alpha state, and it comes with its own level of bugs and instability and everything. And then you think about PTU below that, and it comes with its own level of bugs and instability. Then you think about Evocati before that, and it comes with its own bugs and instability. Then you think about ISC, where ISC is capturing stuff and its own bugs, and even before Evocati, so that, and the trouble that we go through getting footage for that. Then at the bottom of that is SCL, where it's like, now we're making something from the very beginning, from the absolute thing. Imagine the bugs and the instability, and that's what you're seeing. So.
Shh. Don't know what you're on about. Don't know what you're on about, mate.
We won't tell you what happened, but the editor crashed.
It's working as intended. Don't worry. I don't know. I'd love to hear any suggestions people had for interactables, because obviously,
sure,
all the good ideas come from the community, right?
Yeah, everybody. As far remember, an interactable is a thing that, as a character, as a person, you would be able to carry and then place. You down somewhere. You have to place it and it deploys. So think about instead of the word interactable, think about deployable. That might help the nomenclature. Cooler boxes for food. And Banu prayer bowls. Oh no, I'm sorry. Don't put them here in chat. Go to Twitter. And sorry, I can't keep it up. Even I have to stop. I'm going to get an email. Now, baseball bat is not a deployable. Baseball bat is a melee weapon that I've been asking for years, and that is technically there. There was one in the in the Digital Citizen demo last year. It wasn't used, but if you watch it, it was there behind the counter at the outpost. So
Yeah, it's annoying that we've got that fine line between weapons and props sometimes. And while I'd love to make a deployable baseball bat or something, the weapons team would get that pleasure.
yeah, baseball still exists in 2952. You're darn right it does. Baseball and professional wrestling. That's it. Everything else has died out. But baseball and professional wrestling are still going in 2952. Isn't that right, Dave Haddock? He's not saying no, so.
Come on, you could do it. You know what I'd like in 29? What year are we in for Star Citizen now?
2952.
2952. Yeah, I'd like a working working loading bar, mate. Nah, it behaves most of the time. It's only when it's being live streamed.
Carryable missiles that explode when you drop them. Wouldn't those be carryable bombs? A handcart? A little deployable handcart?
That would be oh my god. That would be stress. I did a lot of the setup on the original trolleys, and they are pain. They got a lot of helpers and stuff.
Yeah. The deployable shields and stuff, that's been on the want list for a long time. Deployable racing checkpoints, yeah, that's also been on the list. We were talking about scramble races a couple years ago. One of the things that got reprioritized down the list a bit, but I was having a conversation with somebody about scramble races internally just earlier today, and I said the words, "Don't pull the rug out from under me. When it gets further along, then we'll talk about it." So that stuff. Deployable Titan suit. I don't know what that is. That sounds like something Sean Tracy mentioned once.
Deployable Titan suit.
No. That's on Sean Tracy. He mentioned that once, like however many years ago, and it's pain in my butt. Deployable Jared. I'm already deployed. I'm here. Oh
my god. The brightness.
This is what we're looking at right now, everybody. Just in case you think you're missing the show.
We're looking at a very bright error report.
Yep. We're vamping. And this might have been the reason why I called the thing we were going to do in the last 5 minutes, 15 minutes early.
Yeah, I mean, that was a pro strat.
Are we going to try again?
Right. Just wait for it to load in. I don't know, on my PC's being so slow, I might turn the spec down just for the... Oh, it already is. Right, I'm just going to be very slow with it. My PC's got stage fright.
Slowly I move, step by step, inch by inch.
That's a mood.
I'm gonna get any.
Oh, it's still running, right? There we go. Oh, now the frame rate returns. Right, cool. Let's see if what I set up earlier is actually still...
The frame rate gets crushed by the Zoom screen share, so you've got the frame rate, but here on the show. All right, so we see something in the back of the Cutlass here.
What are these? Oh my god. I'm stuck on something. So, we arrive at this beautiful location that's obstructed by this very large object.
Might have to change the way it's being held.
Yeah.
That's something for Active
Like I
Feature
said,
Team.
This is an early whip. But yeah. Lovely location. So what we're going to do is we're going to...
Hey, do me a favor. Before you do this, go up to Zoom and change it to optimize for video so we can get a better frame rate on this. It's at the top of Zoom.
Oh, up here.
Yeah, the little bar that shows up there. It's going to lower the picture quality a bit in the screen share, but it'll get us our frame rate back. This is Zoom killing the live stream right now. There you go.
There we go. Is that better?
A little bit. We're working with Zoom. We're working with what we got. When we're all back in the office, we'll be able to do this live and without the need of screen shares. It'll be nice.
So yeah, this looks like a nice spot. This is like one of those really bad E3 demos from before, you know, when they've got like a clearly scripted section. Yeah, I think we'll set up here, guys. Sorted. Now I can sit down and chill.
Can you go third person so we can see it? There you go.
So yeah, this is just a functioning prototype. So there's still some jank to work out. You know, obviously, like we won't be able to do stuff like log out on these beds because then you've essentially got mobile camping points. So you just log back in, you know, outside Jump Town or something, and
well, not on the
wreak havoc.
Just what I want, a steel bed.
Not on the entry level tier 1 one anyway.
Yeah, the subscriber only version.
No, jeez.
No.
That's not to say that they can't be something down the line that players work their way up to.
Yeah, for sure. But essentially, like that's what Interactables is going to be about. It's about, you know, what can we do as one small team with what we know now in order to bring more kind of emergent gameplay to the PU, and giving players tools to, you know, make their own gameplay. You know, stuff like this doesn't take a huge amount of time compared to, you know, the other, you know, massive missions that are being created and the other content. So, you know, in those patches where maybe there isn't as much content, you know, we can create some cool stuff that will hopefully bolster some additional gameplay and create opportunities for stuff. And then when you're done, clean up your litter, pick up, run back to your shit. It's even funny when you look at the perspective.
Yeah, definitely needs to pass by the actor feature team and be like, is this how we should be carrying this? Is this proper center of mass?
This is perfect. This is fine.
But yeah, somebody's already mentioned this could be used for like stretchers.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know, like a stretcher to carry people off the field of battle in Siege of Orison or something.
Yeah, like essentially. So this was like I said, because we're a brand new team. This is for me to learn how to create this stuff essentially, and I've combined an existing thing like a bed, a chair, with a carryable. And using those same techniques that I've learned, you know, I can probably look at other things in the game. Like I know we've got the gurneys and stuff, and the trolleys, and we can look at making deployable versions of those too, and just see where the feature can take us really. And then hopefully when we get, you know, additional support and the team grows, we'll be bringing, you know, more and more complex stuff into the universe. I think this is really the start of something really, really awesome. I'm very excited about it, and I know, you know, the team is as well. So yeah. It's cool beans.
Will Hain is sending me tips for how to load Microtech quicker in the editor, and I'm not loading it. Will Hain, Lewis is. Send the tips to Lewis. Don't send them
Tip
to me.
1: don't load into Microtech.
No. All right. So yeah, that does. Oh, you want to show it one more time? Here, hold on. Let me go. There you go.
Yeah. I'm just gonna mess around now. Like,
well, no, we're done. We're out of time.
Done?
What are you gonna do? You gonna try to stack one on top of another?
I'm just gonna make a campsite, but I'm happy to sign up when you are. I just like messing about with these. It's fun running around placing them and just doing little configurations.
Well, having seen you in third person running around with this, I want it to be an improvised melee weapon.
Just fold up your camping bed and fight off wildlife.
Just beat somebody to death with a deployable camping bed.
Oh, we got an upside down. Oh! It's a camping bed with teeth.
The views and opinions of Lewis do not represent those of Cloud Imperium Games, Robert Space Industries, or its subsidiaries.
Look at that, it's satisfying. And that's just a template. Like, give me like 2 weeks or something to work on a
Where's
set,
the mattress,
and I will
though?
come up with the most amazing animation.
But, beds, chairs, tables, lights, tents. I mean, this isn't me promising you that all those things are coming. I'm just talking about these are the things that will be explored.
Hit somebody with that.
You just bang your head on the.
I love
Yeah,
it.
we'll just
I love our game so much.
we'll just end the show there. We'll end the show there. All right, everybody. Thanks for taking the time to hang out with us. This week's Star Citizen Live Game Dev. Slightly less than practical interactables. ISC is still on hiatus. We're coming back June 28th. So keep the fires going for that. Alpha 3.17.2 is still on the PTU, being tested and making progress every single day. Make sure you check out the robertspaceindustriescom website and the various socials for details on whether that goes wider or when it goes live and stuff like this. And then don't forget a special thing that we'll get to that. Don't forget Foundation Festival is going on right now. Whole big thing with the guide system, your chance to get all kinds of new paints and stuff. I don't know the details, but again, like always, check out the robertspaceindustriescom website to learn more. And then something I want to make sure is on your radar that might not be. It's a special kind of thing. It's first of its kind. On July 22nd, the community team from Star Citizen, that's Tyler and Ulf and Dan and Ulf, I already said Ulf, and others coming together with the community team from Eve. They have a Dan. And that's the only one. That's the only one I know. They are coming together here in Manchester with me stuck in the middle, running the broadcast. They are going to live stream for charity. We're going to be raising money for Extra Kids. That is on July 22nd. So look out for more details like the start time and stuff like that. It promises to be something unlike we've done in the past. That's the best I can tell you. I'm along for the ride on this one, so we'll see how it goes. But it should be a lot of fun regardless. So Battle of the Bricks, July 22nd. Check that out. We will be back here on Twitch next Friday with the man, the myth, the legend, the eyes, Todd Pappy, for All About Alpha 3.17, 3.17.1, and 3.17.2. The question thread for that usually goes up on Spectrum on Monday, so keep an eye out for that. Everything related to the last 3 patches of Star Citizen is on the table, and me trying to work in one question about fishing. So yeah, Lewis, thank you for taking the time to be here.
Well,
on
interesting
the show
that
this
they've
week.
created a whole team for this.
I think I'm personally excited about the new Interactables team. I know it's a very new, literally.
I hope it's just 2
created
people.
this week initiative. So I'm excited to see it grow and all the things
I can see it now. Hey guys, we got a coffee cup. It flattens into a circle. Subscriber item.
that come from it. So take care. We are going to raid. Looks like we're raiding Jfish. That's probably Jake Acapella who did that. Jake Acapella is raiding Jfish. So when you see Jfish, say, "Hi, Jake Acapella sent me," and don't forget to visit his Twitter.
I'm gonna go grab some lunch.
What's the music?
We watched this. That's all I have to say about that.